Hey, it's me, Yesod. Welcome to part 5 of Library of Ruina. And we've got an abnormality battle to do right away. The Happy Teddy Bear. That thing loved to play with people. Right? Hugging was its favorite thing, wasn't it? It feels refreshing to see you again. The affection. Reduce the cost of nostalgic embrace of the old days by 1 after engaging in a clash. Okay. How do I want to deal with this? Obviously the 1-1, super easy. I can take that out with just this. This will just put as much damage on it as I can. I'm gonna take a little damage here. I think that's fine. Go ahead and apply some more bleed. And it'll take a lot of bleed damage here as well. And here's Nostalgic Embrace, which basically just kills, but I'll be able to take it out too. Yeah, pretty reminiscent of how it acted in Lobotomy Corporation. It would hug people's heads off. Phew, got a ton of books for you, Malkuth. By the way, I told you before that this is my third life, right? Oh yeah, you've been thinking about your previous lives? By the way, I heard from Angela that this place is related to Lobotomy Corporation somehow. Is that really true? It's not just related somehow. I was an AI in charge of the control team in Lobotomy Corporation.
AI?
AI? As in artificial intelligence? Hold on a sec, you're an AI, just like Angela? Sorry, my wording was a little off. I wasn't a real AI. I was a human whose brain was restored for a second chance, if anything. Sheesh, I was worried for a second that this place violated the AI Ethics Amendment even more than just one time. The head would come burn this place to the ground at any moment if that were the case. You mean the institution that manages the city? Yepper, that head. They usually like to stay awfully quiet, but when they do have work, they're scarily thorough and quick about it. Or so I've heard, you know? So casual, aren't you? I thought we were having a serious conversation here. Oh, whoops. Sorry. I've gone through all kinds of stuff, so my priorities tend to be a bit unusual. It's not like I was trying to ignore what you were saying or anything, Malkuth. Sorry if it made you feel bad. You have a rather unique personality, Roland. It's all part of my survival strategy. Anyway, back to your past. You said you used to be the boss of the control team back in the Lobotomy Corp, yeah? Or right? That's right, and I'm in charge of history here, as you can see. So I started out by tracing back in my own history, very, very slowly. Would you like to have a listen? Not a fan of long and convoluted stories. Hey, don't be such a mood killer. You're supposed to agree here. Well, why bother asking if you're gonna tell me the story anyway? Haha, you know what? You got me there. Anyways, I was ordered to work in Lobotomy Corp as the head of the control team, bearing all my flaws. I was given a role to play as soon as I woke up, not realizing who I truly was. With my heart still aching from the unresolved pain and regret from my past, almost about to burst. Just like that, I kept doing inhumane acts for Lobotomy Corp.
하지만
I didn't even question what I was doing since it was all just work to me.
의문을 품지 않았어요. 소명인 것처럼 느꼈거든요.
It felt like a calling even. The only thing guiding me was a vague feeling that something went wrong because I didn't try hard enough.
그리고
My twisted sense of effort pushed many into peril. It forced others into following my selfish standards like a fretful child. It's been rough for you, being told to work like that without knowing what you were getting into.
로보토미에서 일하다 보니 과거의 기억이 돌아오기라도 한 거야?
Did your memories naturally come back after working in Lobotomy Corp for a while, or...
돌아왔다고 해야 할까요?
It's more like, it'd be more correct to say I was reminded of them.
지금이 세 번째 삶이라면
My life at Lobotomy Corp was actually my second.
그리고 로보토미에서 일하던
And when my emotions finally erupted while working there, I could remember my first
첫
life.
번째 삶이 떠올랐죠. 내가 저지른 실수와
All the mistakes and faults I made, and regret.
그리고 왜 제가 노력에만
I could understand why I'd been so obsessed with trying hard. Turns out what I really wanted was recognition.
내가 이만큼 노력한
Look, I'm trying so hard. I'm a useful person. I never knew how to stand up without leaning on someone else.
누군가에게 기대야만 설 수 있는 사람이었어요. 그렇게 제 안에 응어리를 쏟고 나서야 매듭이 풀릴 수 있었죠.
After I vented out all my emotions, the inner struggle that had been haunting me for so long finally dissolved.
두 번째 삶에서
I found redemption for my first life during my second life.
그러니까
Alright, so let me get this straight. You did something wrong, which you regretted so much, and died. Somehow came back to life,
그 응어리가 풀리게
and got another job, and the big lump of regret in your heart eventually got resolved in a turn of events?
간단하게
Oh, it was the turn of events, alright. I guess that's one way to put it.
잠깐 다 그럴
Hold
수
on
있다고
for a
쳐.
moment.
도시는
Let's say that everything else makes sense since it's the city we're talking about.
근데 누가 널
But who revived you, and for what reason? Just to give you that enlightenment?
그럴 거예요.
Maybe. But I can let out all of my resentment and sorrow,
제가
and I can find redemption.
구원받을 수 있도록 말이죠.
입은 삐뚤어졌어도
Don't delude yourself,
말은
Malkuth.
똑바로 해야지 말코트.
아 깜짝이야.
Oh, jeez, scared me for a sec. Were you listening to all of this?
너를 구원하기 위해서가
Salvation was never in his interests.
그 사람은
He only did it as a means to find his own redemption.
넌
I wasn't the one using you.
그 사람의 자기만
It was him. He used all of you just to satisfy himself. And she's talking about a...
더 이상 못
Can't bear to hear any more of this nonsense.
헨젤라,
Angela.
이만 잠들어줘야 할
So I
거.
need you to fall asleep. So this is a memory from Lobotomy Corporation?
왜 그런
What's with those
표정이야?
faces?
너희가 그토록 원하던
It's the rest you all longed for.
그렇게 둘 순 없어요.
Can't let you do that. We worked so hard to make this happen.
노력해왔는데
노력이라.
Worked hard? How funny. Would you really call what you've done hard
너희가
work?
해온 것도
We're not gonna sit still and let you take away our light.
우리의 빛이
Our light? You're not the boss, and I would never listen to you even if you were.
그래.
Of course you won't. You're still loyal to that man. I won't let you rob me of the meaning I finally found.
역시
No one is by my side as I expected. I feel so lonesome now. I shall stand by your side if no one else wills to. Damn it, Bina. Even in the end, you're... This must be yet another consequence of his actions. I simply acknowledge all events as valid.
내가 눈물을 흘릴 수
I'd
있는
have shed a tear of
거라면
gratitude for you if I could.
고마워서 눈물
Feel free to act upon your wishes. Angelo, a machine consumed by desires, cannot take this path.
되고 안 되고는
I decide what I can or can't do now.
언제까지
You can't cling to Lobotomy Corporation forever.
넌 네가 누구
Are you interested in learning more about yourself or living your own life?
같은 건 없나 봐?
내 삶은 인류를 구원하기 위해서.
My life, it was to save humanity.
그래서
That's why I could willingly sacrifice my life.
있었던 거야.
It's for a greater cause.
바보 같기 짝이 없어.
What a bunch of idiots. Seems another storm swept by.
힘쓸고 갔군.
I gave away my 2 previous lives trying to save people. I'm willing to do it again for a 3rd time. We withstood all those hardships and trials for the sake of humanity. Do we look like idiots to you too, Roland? Well, it's not like I know enough of the details. Don't get this whole saving humanity thing either.
잘 모르겠다. 말코트 네가 진심으로 그걸
If that's what you
원했다면
sincerely hoped for,
내가 무슨
who am I to
말을
judge?
있겠나 싶기도 하고.
Of course I'm sincere. Please leave me be for a bit. I need some time to think.
그래 보이네.
Alright, you do look like you need some rest. Remember, deep breaths, okay?
그리고 다음엔 괜히 존댓말 쓰지
Oh,
말고.
and you don't have to be too courteous with me when we talk. Just thought I'd let you know. Yeah. Pretty good scene. And these are all really good cards. This card in particular, Happy Memories, is going to be... It has some fun uses, I'll just say that. Let's see, do I want to use... Maybe I'll keep using Floor of General Works. And then, what page was I using? I think it was 10, right? Now for part 3. Yes, sir. I'm afraid San and Julia couldn't make it back, requesting additional support. Isadora, what do you think the purpose of the library is? From the information we've gathered so far, it's the accumulation of knowledge. Accumulation of knowledge, you say? Library simply offers a deal. It has no influence on the outside world. It only rewards or punishes those who have entered. The winner can get the books they want, and a loser becomes a book that the library wants. Any linkage to the distortion phenomenon? That is unclear, sir. My instincts suggest that it has to be related to the phenomenon somehow. Why is that? The invitation to the library, its books, and the beings called librarians that reside there. All elements of the library are similar to what we've seen of the distortion. The common feature is that it's impossible to observe them for an analysis of their constituents or components. You cannot carry out a comparative analysis because of this. This inability to observe itself can be considered a common trait. It's not like you make such baseless claims, is it? Section 6 will not needlessly obsess over the library. There's simply too much uncertainty for us to recklessly jump into the case. The Zwei Association gets hundreds of requests every day. A fair number of them are allocated to us at Section 6. Sure, you understand that your claims are not compelling enough to make us give up all these requests in favor of the library. I'm aware, sir. Yet here you are, requesting additional manpower for investigating the library. Are you sure you aren't simply using the alleged linkage to the distortion as an excuse to get your revenge on the library, or retrieve the books of your colleagues? Even as we speak, syndicates like the Carnival are chewing up people's guts out in the open, and the likes of the musicians of Berman are making modern art pieces out of innocent citizens. And there are yet more insane individuals looming over the city, no? And our duty is to protect our clients from such shade in this city, is it not? Right, sir. Remember the slogan of our association? We're shield, sir. Exactly. Our role is to be a trusty shield for our client. So don't put down that shield without good reason, got it? You may leave now. Will do. Isadora? Yes? Do you happen to put this invitation in my drawer? No, sir. I haven't received any new invitations yet. What is the current risk level of the library?
아직은 도시 전설이지만
It's currently resting at the urban legend class, but has been slowly rising with every new report. Now I see. The Book of Distortion, is it? They've been using irresistible bait like this to attract their victims, haven't they? Things went rather smoothly thanks to your book. It's not something we could get from any of the guests we've had so far. Simply offered them what they needed the most at the moment. I'm better than anyone at understanding the situation at hand and coming up with an appropriate response. Precisely, ma'am. You surely did come up with a perfect solution to lure out the Zwei. Heck, you can print out books right away. Wouldn't it be nicer to just make a whole lot of them ourselves? I can only write books about the things I know. I need more time to write another one, too. Oh, I see. So can I ask for your publications from time to time, then? I'm willing to cooperate since you're doing your job as my assistant. Just don't pester me too much. Sure thing, ma'am. Mere servants such as I wouldn't dare commit such atrocity as bothering our Mistress Angela. Oh no. I think this will work out well. The director of a section in an association like the Zwei should be more than enough as our next step. The information he holds has got to be on a whole nother level from what we've collected so far. It's been quite a while since I worked in the field. You haven't had any field work in a while too, no?
네, 그렇습니다.
You're right, sir. We can get this case resolved, we can finally get out of Section 6. It's nice to be finally collecting information about the distortion directly from the source instead of having to get my hands dirty engaging with those lowly syndicates. Neither of us should rot in Section 6 for the rest of our lives, wouldn't you agree? Yes. You can have revenge for your colleagues, get a lead on the distortion phenomenon, and aim for a higher position all at the same time. How fascinating is that? Everything seems to fall into place too conveniently. Greetings, dear guest. I'm the must be Angela, director and librarian of your role's namesake, right? Indeed, it's just as you said. I've seen reports about you, but is it true that you're a machine, not a human? My. Seeing quiet won't hide it, girl. A machine must behave as a machine. You made quite a huge deal out of your little library. It's rather troublesome to have a non-human like you cause a fuss this big, you know? Sir, I don't think we should provoke her any further. May you find your books in this place. So, nothing new in terms of cards. This part's a pretty easy fight. So Walter, as you can see, he has 2 speed die. So his key page is really good too. This is a pretty good card. Blade Whirl is also kind of... it can be a little annoying. That used to be different. It didn't used to be 3 offensive dice. It used to be 2, I think. And they rolled a little higher. Or nothing like the ones that came before us, it won't be as easy. They don't really look tough, but they did annihilate the previous group. True. Actually, I want that clash, and then I'll just go ahead and put damage on this guy. Oh wow, staggered already. This is pretty good. I can definitely end this fast with this, but look at that. So many stats. And I'll kill this one off. Fortunately, I don't really want to kill him yet. Kind of want to get the emotion a little higher. What's he on? I think this is his last turn, right? Yeah, so I guess we'll finish it here. Yep, you can see exploded. Gained a book of Lobotomy Corps. And a cool hat.
기계답다는 건 뭐야?
What does it mean to behave as a machine? Boy, not that topic again.
전에도
Someone I used to know loved to say that phrase. Like I told you before, making machines with emotions or sapience is forbidden. Even if one were to be made, the head has long settled the ethical implications and all that. That means they decided on a solid answer for the long-standing question, how is a machine with emotions different from a human? Their answer being, even if a machine carries emotions and intelligence, and is nearly identical to a human in every aspect, it is still a machine by birth. Machines should always be below humans. Therefore, it is now forbidden to create sapient machines as they can disrupt the proper judgment of societal values. Furthermore, all existent sapient machines may be subject to termination regardless of ownership.
기계는 기계고 인간은 인간이다. 기계는 인간을 위해 존재한다.
In short, machines are machines and humans are humans. Machines exist solely to serve humans, is what they're saying.
도시의 사람들은 그렇게
That's the mindset people in the city decided to have.
고철덩이에 인간 뇌를
Where do human brains stuffed in heaps of scrap metal belong?
어쨌든 그건 인간이야.
Those would still technically count as humans. Some might consider them defiled, others might look down on them, but the brains themselves are natural.
아무튼 무슨 말인지
You
알겠지?
get what I'm saying?
누군가의 뇌의 구조를
What about an
전자적으로
electric
만드는
copy of a human brain?
그건 기계야.
That would be a machine, since it's not born human.
내가 봐도 왜 이런
To be frank, I don't really get these standards either.
태생이 인간이란
I guess
것을
birthright
제일
matters to them the most.
그게 인간이라는 점을
Maybe it's a
지키는
defensive reaction born out of the urge to preserve humanity as a species.
불공평하네.
That's unfair.
공평한 게 어디 있겠어?
Nothing is ever fair in this world.
그래.
You're right, it seems everyone lives with a
불공평함을 떠.
share of unfairness that they must bear. Now you're talking like a city dweller. Now we've got another abnormality battle to do. Although I should burn these books to try and get Walter's key page. Hey, got one. This passive attribute is also really good. Defensive dice power +1, which also counts for evade dice and defensive dice. That's pretty good. I like this 5 to 7. It's a lot like Overpower. Just doesn't have the bleed. Alright, that should be more than enough. Book of All-Around Helper. Oh, I know that little guy. He'd spin around like crazy before flopping on the floor. It should not be difficult as long as we have clear information on that machine. And 4 strength and 1 endurance next scene. What do I have that can beat 5s? Just this? I actually think focusing on getting these 2 down is the better choice here. So I'll do just that. And we'll focus everything on it. Okay, so this is gonna hurt. This is a 10-10. So the only good thing to clash with this is a block dice, which I don't have any to play because that would mitigate a little bit of damage. My best chance to beat this is to use suppress. I guess I'll go with that. And then I'll just kill here. Hey, I actually won that clash. And that, oh my gosh, that's so lucky. I actually can't believe that just happened. That's so good. Just like the chances of it are so low. Actually, you know what? Here. I think what I'll do. So I'll use this here. And we'll do this as a one-sided attack. And then all the dice from Retaliate will eat up those defensive dice. So I should get a kill here. Or at least a stagger. Which is just as good, because now I don't have to worry about the strength and everything. Wait, what? Oh, okay. I thought that was a different card. Now I'll just kind of unga this dude. Alright, that was pretty simple. For book delivery is here. I did up my clothes in advance this time too. Oh, greetings, Angela's lapdog. Come on, still at it with that? The books you brought me last time were interesting, to say the least. I learned that the technologies employed in the back streets were interwoven in a disorderly manner. From crude equipment made of junk to clothes woven from antimatter, all kinds of technologies at various levels of advancement can be seen. There's cutting-edge tech out there, but only few get to benefit from it. I assume wealth is the determining factor? We're in an era where rich people don't have to worry about any disease. You have all sorts of cures now too, granted you have the cash to buy them. And then we have people playing God with those technologies called singularities. What was Lobotomy Corp's singularity, by the way? Corp is gone now anyway, so no one's gonna sue us for spilling the beans. Are you shameless? I suppose it wouldn't hurt to tell you. Hey, stop treating me like an idiot. I'm not that stupid, you know. Elsie's singularity was physically manifesting the human mind, an abstract concept. Converting human emotions to physical energy in the same vein as the library. Human emotions can be interpreted as a complex mass. That mass is built up through experiences. When emotions are heightened enough, a page will be chosen. A spot is reserved for a person's book. It is a comprehensive manifestation of their ego. As the battle becomes fiercer and the combatants get agitated, egos will grow intense and allow their mental states to be physically expressed. Physically manifesting the mind, huh? Certainly seems similar to the distortion. What'd you just say? Oh, nothing. Just a bit of monologue. Anyway, it sure sounds like a singularity, alright. Impressive indeed. You know, makes me wonder. Malkuth said you guys were part of a project that aimed to save humanity, right? That is true. What kind of saving was that all about, really? Make money rain from the sky or something? That would save everyone for sure. Can't be compared to such ridiculous nonsense. You have no right to talk so lightly about the sacrifices we made. Oh, he's pissed. Whoa, alright, calm down now. Sheesh, can't even crack a joke around here. We sought to cure the mind. Carmen was the leader of our research team. He said every person in the city had a diseased mind, and that the disease was so severe humanity would slowly lead itself to self-destruction at this rate. He described the situation as no better than lemmings willingly jumping into a pit of fire.
뭐?
What? Smells a lot like a shitty cult leader according to my tingling fixer sense.
그 말에
Everyone agreed to what she said just like that?
저도 그렇게 바보는 아닙니다.
Now you're taking me for a fool.
명확한 과학적
Of course, there were quantitative indices to scientifically prove her claim.
역시 당신에게는 자세히
Suppose it'd be
설명할
useless to describe them to you in detail.
대단한
Okay, egghead. Setting that aside,
아무튼 그렇다. 인류를 구하는 일에 성공한 거야?
did you guys succeed with that goal of saving humanity?
끝까지 절 놀리는군요.
Never cease to annoy me. If we succeeded, we wouldn't be here doing this.
아,
Well, yeah, fair point.
그건 그렇네.
제가 무엇보다 화가
The fact that we
나는
failed to
것은
save humanity is not what makes me upset the most.
지금까지 우리는
We have committed
수많은
countless
악을
sins,
저질러왔습니다. 인류의 구원이라는 단
all in the
하나의
name of a
목적을
single
위해서라도
righteous purpose, saving humanity.
그러기 위해서는 어쩔 수
We convinced ourselves that we had no other choice.
당신처럼 어쩔 수
Performed
없는
unethical experiments and knowingly drove employees to death in LC.
직원들을 알면서도 사지로 이 모든 추악한
We tolerated all those vile deeds for a greater good.
하지만
But all of that is about to be for naught.
상황입니다. 지금까지 그들의
What will be made of their
희생을
sacrifices?
저와 동료들의
All the
아픔을
pain me and my colleagues endured.
엔젤라가 빼앗아간
Angela
겁니다.
ruined it all.
벌써 지친 거니?
Fatigued already? What a shame.
아직
My employees and I are up for more.
더할 수 있는데. 웃기는 소리 하지 마. 이번에는
Don't be ridiculous. I'll kill you for sure this time.
비나,
Mina, not even you will manage to break through our combined effort.
확실히 그렇겠구나.
There is a valid concern. It is true. Even I cannot stop all of you in such a short time.
무언가 부족한
You'll need to act quickly, Angela.
그렇지 않아도
I was just about to do something
이제는
about it.
준비된 참이야.
Oh man. Every time I hear that music. Aw shucks. The cliff off deterrence is being lowered. She's overriding my authority on the system. The abnormalities are breaching. I love the music so much. All Sephirah and personnel, please follow my lead. The control team will be in command now. Akuma and the architecture team, please stop Angela from taking over all the systems. Understood. Sephirah and the disciplinary team, please keep Bina at bay.
당연하지.
You bet. Leave this to me. Pod and the training team, provide the employees with the right manual and information. Attention to all employees, this is a Type X emergency protocol. Please act accordingly to the following instructions. Headsack and the safety team, please focus on treating the wounded. I'll try to take care of them as quickly as I can. Yesod and the information team, please identify the weaknesses of the escaping abnormalities right away. I'll analyze them all with the utmost precision. Yesod and the welfare team, please work on restoring the cliff-off deterrence as soon as possible. Will do. This one is my fault after all. No time to feel guilty, Yesod. Sephirah and the central command team, please support everyone with your resourcefulness. No need to say it.
너희들이 힘을 맞추는 모습 보기 좋구나.
It brings me joy to see you all act in such coordination.
어디?
Now, try and stop us till the end.
당신은 모를 겁니다.
You will never understand how we desperately struggle to stop her from snuffing out our light,
그리고
and the guilt we feel from compromising at the end.
그래, 난 모르지.
You're right, I won't. All I care about is helping Angela. I want her to achieve her goal, you know?
그 과정이 어떻든
You simply want the results, whatever the process may entail.
당신은 역시
No different from Angela in that you only care about your own well-being.
정말 도시 같습니다.
You're despicable. A typical example of an inhabitant of the city suffering from the disease of the mind. Use the technologies the city has to offer for immediate convenience, not knowing or caring about the sacrifices those technologies were built upon, not knowing that you're bringing about your own demise. Oh, so that's what the whole diseased mind thing was about? You should value the process more than the result? You're a bunch of dreamers and snobs all along. I bet you're from one of the nests. Look, no better than anyone about the price of those technologies and singularities. Diseased mind, my ass. Your point about people using singularities without knowing how they really work? That's because they literally have no other option. Corporates have concealed so much that consumers eventually gave up inquiring. Because they're tired. They're already too busy sustaining their everyday life. Appears that I'm not getting through to you. Oh, what a coincidence. I was thinking the same thing too. No matter what you say, I do not want to turn a blind eye to this reality, nor conform to it. But these are pretty good. A lot of haste that you can make use of with Mars page since he gains bonus stagger damage when anyone he clashes with has a lower speed. I think it's clashes with. I don't know if it also affects one-sided attacks. Not 100% sure. Now we've got some reading to do. Zwei Fixers page. So you're a person or a group dedicated to stopping violence or murder in the backstreets? Not quite. You're on your own, unless you have the money to hire fixers. Protection isn't some volunteer service you can get for free. Fixers risk their lives for it. It'll take our lives worth of money to get motivated to work. We aren't robots. If you're so afraid, why don't you hire fixers or move to a nest? You're free from all outside threats when you live in a nest. Unless the nest falls, of course. The Zwei Association is your shield. We protect you, your family, and your home from syndicates of the backstreets or crazed murderers. If you have the wealth to make a direct request to the association, that is, without due payment, the association will not move. You believe our request fee is too expensive and you would rather request a syndicate? While making a request to a syndicate is an option, we don't recommend it. The reason is obvious. No organization in the city that operates without abiding formal procedures can be trusted. Which is true. We saw, gosh, which group was it? One of the groups betrayed a client just for money. I think it was Hook Office. Associate fixers are classified into multiple levels too. From Section 1, which is the apex, to Section 6, the bottom. There's a world of difference in the salaries and treatment they get. I guess that's because they're much more experienced than us. If I keep trying hard, then maybe I'll be able to join Section 5 someday. It's not an easy feat to get out of Section 6, of course. It takes a huge effort, or perhaps something that can't be accomplished with effort alone. I'm a first member here, so there's still a lot for me to learn. Still, I'm going to pick up experience as I resolve the missions assigned to me, and I'll probably figure out what to do in time. Zwei tends to be more defensive than other associations or offices. Our main purpose is not to fight and win, but rather to ensure the safety of our clients. We don't perpetuate unnecessary killings in our duty of protecting people. Thus, if you're looking to make a request for someone's death, we recommend seeking other associations for it. There are other associations for that. And Julia's page. I still remember the day when the three of us met for the first time. It was when I joined my previous office. I was actually scared back then. It was the first workplace I was assigned to just after I became a fixer. I was hesitating in front of the glass door, wondering whether I should go in or wait for someone to open it. Then I heard a sound coming from inside. Two people arguing with each other. I decided to get close to the door and eavesdrop on them. How tight did the bonds between our fates have to be to lead us here? I mean, both you and I are first-timers. Isn't it reassuring to be with a familiar face? Not at all. When is this Julia person coming anyway? Don't tell me she got disappointed by your pathetic impression and went back already. She's not coming in because she's intimidated by your facial expression. She gave me a glance, turned back to the tall person with an even fiercer gaze than moments ago, then kicked him in the shin and came striding along towards me. The tall person followed, rubbing his shin. As the person with pigtails got closer and closer, I found myself stepping backward, even though I knew I should be saying hello to her. Soon, the chime on the door rang as it opened up, and we stood still for a few seconds like that, not one of us saying a single word. I don't know why, but it was so funny to me as she was puckering her lips just as hesitant to speak as I was, so I burst out laughing. So she's talking about Isidore and Walter. Or maybe it's... oh, it should be Isidore and San, my bad. San and Julia are old fixer friends of mine, and San's from the streets of District 21, the same place I grew up in. This is a secret I've only told Julia, but San actually used to be a huge coward. Probably not that surprising to you, since he still acts like a coward from time to time. Thinking about the old days makes me laugh though. He always train himself so he doesn't lag behind, and ended up getting scars on his face. And one time, he walked into a dark alleyway saying exploration shouldn't be a problem for a brave person, even though his face was already full of fear, and then ran back to me in less than a minute. I almost got into serious danger one time. The two of us were hanging out until after dark, and I ran into something nasty in a remote street. It happened when I was a little kid, so my memory of that is blurry. All I can remember is looking at Stan's back, standing in front me, holding a tree branch he hurriedly picked up. My heart was racing with fright, but looking at his shivering legs made me chuckle a little on the inside. I don't remember what happened after that, as I said. Why am I bringing this up all of a sudden? I don't know. I was just reminded of the old times, seeing San kneel down for the sake of his office juniors. He never changes, huh? The associations handle requests often made for fixers such as security, combat, assassination, intel, patenting, and trade. When there is money, there are associations. The associations follow demand, not the other way around. Demand equals request, and request equals profit. It may seem too materialistic to you, but seeing how the associations work, you have to agree that money is their prime objective. For instance, the associations sort and classify every single notable event in the city. Urban myths, urban legends, urban plagues, urban nightmares, and stars of the city. Risk is not what determines their grade. The only question that matters is how much people are willing to pay to have the threat eliminated. So now, we have branching paths. So this will be fun, and I will go ahead and I think we'll do this one first. Bastards like you need some beating. Does that get it into your thin skull? It's enough, Youngmi. Beating them to death won't do us any good. District 22 may be our turf, but these chumps you're beating to a pulp may be from Zwei Section 6. We're talking about an association here. We're gonna be in even bigger trouble if you kill them all. Walter. If only that bastard kept his promise, we wouldn't have gotten into this mess. We needed the floor plan of Elcor's nest. Zwei had it. We should teach these fuckers a lesson on how important it is to keep promises. Yeah, look at that smile. Night will fall soon. Sleepers could come for our asses any second now. And a thumb wouldn't even contact us. Shed blood gathering intel on the distortion for that bastard Walter, and this is how he repays us? Those zealots at the Church of Gears took out more than half our syndicate.
확실히 그 교주
Their leader was an inhuman freak, alright.
사람이라 할 수 없었지.
그렇게 핏똥 싸가며
We worked their asses off securing the goods from the church, and for what? We can't hand over the floor plan of Elcor's nest to the Thumb.
우린
All that's left for us is to get purged by the Thumb for failing our job. Shouldn't have made a deal with an association in the first place.
그래도 월터는
At least Walter was a sensible one. Maybe something happened to him.
아무리 그 녀석이
He might have been a cunning old fart, but he was still the director of Zwei Association Section. Besides, he'd usually leave field jobs to his men. Doesn't make sense for him to die all too suddenly.
그러지 못할 것도 없지.
Anything can happen.
이런 젠장.
For fuck's sake, he really killed them all.
선택지가 하나 늘어.
One more option for us.
또 빡돌아서.
We've done it again. Flew into a blind rage and crushed their bones and guts to a pulp.
경미.
Young-mi, even if there were a bunch of small fry from Section 6, killing this many of them might get Section 2 or 3 to chase us down.
이상할 건 없.
스바이가 작정하고
But I could send an army of fixers at us now.
이 개새끼들은
These sons of bitches
약속을 소중히
needed to
할 필요가
understand
있었어.
what the weight of a promise is.
뭘 믿고 이러는 거야?
Hope you have a backup plan for when the Zwei come to thank us for that lesson. Just look at this.
봉투?
An envelope?
이게
The rumored invitation to that library. Hold on. Among the books of the day they listed, there's the Book of Walter? So that's what happened? You had a plan after all.
뭐야 경미.
What? Young-mi.
그러면 넌
You already knew that Walter died in the library and still pulverized Section 6?
약속에
It's
소중함을
about
새길 필요가.
sending a damn message.
조직은 해결사와
Syndicates have a tendency to kill more than they need to, unlike fixers.
들 내키는 대로 일을 저지른다.
They cause trouble just because they feel like it.
그나저나 청소부와 엄지라는
Anyway, what are they trying to do?
말이라던 거야.
Getting sweepers and the Thumb involved.
청소부는 알고 있어.
I might know about the sweepers.
그래?
You do?
청소부는
I guess they are infamous.
인간을 잘게 찢은
I saw them tear humans to pieces and use them as fuel.
맞아?
Are they like that in real life too?
비슷해.
Sort of.
강함도 강함이지만
One sweeper is tough as is, but what's really scary is their organizational power.
밤마다
They crawl out of the woodwork every night and clean the back streets.
정확한 규모도 파악 안 돼.
Can't even guess how many of them there are. No matter how many we take down, more would show up the next night.
시간 되겠어? 좀
Think we can make it back in time? Isn't it a bit tight?
아슬아슬하겠지만
It is, but we'll probably get back just in time.
환영합니다, 손님. 전 이곳의 관장이자 사서인 엔젤라입니다.
Greetings, dear guest. I'm Angela, the director and librarian of my role's namesake.
됐고
Scratch that.
들여보내주긴
Just let us in. We're in a hurry.
성미가 급하신 분들이
Rather impatient, I see.
자치구
Said shut up
들여보내라 했지.
and let us in. Now.
당신의 책을
How you find your book in this place? Let's see. I don't think I want to use this floor. I think I'll use the general works floor for this. These guys have kind of decent cards. They're more focused on damage than anything. Should be able to stagger all of them here. There's one. 2. And 3. Now they'll both die to bleed, even if I decide not to clash with them. I'll go ahead and mitigate the damage a little bit. Okay, so this guy's really obnoxious. Like, look at these. Okay, he hits really hard. These are pretty annoying cards too. Paralysis. And these just have like a pretty high chance of doing a lot of damage. It ain't hard work to deal with chumps like you. Looks like the goons we sent in advance weren't any good. What a bother. This could dislocate your bones if it misses the mark, so just stay still. Oh, that's not good. Oh, no. Yeah, that's a mistake that happens. I rolled for a max value. Oh man, I might have to risk this early on. Just because of that damage, like I really can't lose clashes with him, or else he'll just die anyways. Alright, I guess I'm going for maximum damage. We're getting a lot of one-sided attacks on him. Instant stagger. I really don't want to kill them so early. It's the only unfortunate thing here. But getting them like low enough, probably okay. He's gonna die this turn. That's not good. I can save him. Or her. Alright, that should be good. This actually should just kill him. Yep, he's down. Look at their icon. That looks pretty cool.
짜증나지 않아?
Isn't it annoying
곧 네가 하려는
to listen to your silly chirping?
들어오는 녀석들이
To deal with the things those guests say, I mean.
꽤 많은 녀석이
A lot of them don't hesitate to spout harsh words at you. I'm surprised you can withstand it all.
우리가 초대해서 와준
They're precious guests we invited, so it's only fair to treat them as such.
그리고 누군가에게
Besides, I'm already used to keeping others pleased in conversation.
그 투철한 직업 정신은
Envy that professionalism of yours.
나중에 뒷골목에
Maybe you should give a lecture on hospitality to all restaurant owners in the back streets someday. They could really learn a thing or two from you.
그래도 말이야.
But still, it'll probably be a lot easier on you to be more flexible with greeting guests, rather than sticking to the same polite attitude.
참고는 해둘게.
I'll take note of that. So now we'll burn these books. We're missing one. Need Dino. Burn another one of his. Hey, we got it. Stray Dogs page. Sure, their syndicate's sorta intimidating and got a tight hierarchy going on, but the bond between the members is strong. We're actually leagues nicer than those office fucks who exploit and abandon each other with every breath. Kinda like Yoon. These crooked bastards will do anything for profit. I'm sometimes in awe of the shit they pull. I actually used to be a rat, yeah, those filthy and wretched rats everyone looks down upon. It's amazing that I'm now standing shoulder to shoulder with the dogs, ain't it? Busted my ass crawling up the ladder. I did everything in my power. Got a small tattoo with the little cash I had, and rummaged through trash to find worn but still usable accessories. It's a damn tough climb, but now that I'm up here, I'm starting to feel like it might have been better off to just live as a rat. Here, a strict barking order is set up between members. It's not like the rats who move in close packs. Sometimes I do miss my old family. Even if you make your way up the big leagues and become a decently influential syndicate, there's still loads of stronger gangs above you, and they peck at you all the same. No matter how far a syndicate climbs and tries, you just can't surpass the 5 fingers at the top. Syndicates ain't too different from fixers in that you have to repeat the same stupid shit following orders from above. So in my opinion, holding onto your place seems wiser than trying to climb up out of ambition or greed, unless you're at rock bottom of course. Someone's gotta be below us to serve as punching bag, ain't that right? True. Tattoos are the cleanest type of augment procedure you could get. I only got it cause Yongmi pushed me to give it a shot. Pretty satisfied with the result. It doesn't cost an awful lot and it looks pretty damn nice too. Weak ass wimps run away at the sight of my tattoo. You see, coolness isn't the only notable feature of these tattoos. There's tons of tattoo types depending on the quality of the ink and the material used, but generally speaking, you can have results like bursts of strength or skin as hard as steel. It used to be a singularity, but ever since the wing owning the tech got snapped and its patent expired, everyone and their mother's been using it. Don't get tattoos that are too cheap though. You might wake up to find melted flesh. Exactly what you pay for in this city. Bastards are only honest when money's involved. Pretty true. Some fools laugh at these accessories I'm wearing. They think I'm a glossy punk trying to look cool, pigged out with random ornaments without a second thought. What they don't know is that these ain't just for fashion. They're good for making arrogant idiots let their guard down, but before that, they're workshop products with real practical uses. You heard about how people use belts to choke others, didn't you? These accessories are similar to that. They're useful for beating someone to death, though I gotta take the risk that comes from using them. Expensive gadgets crafted by premium workshops have almost zero side effects. On the other hand, this ring, for example, lets me deliver a harder blow with my punches, but it chafes the skin of my hand at the same time. This one's on me for using it for too long, and I hear quality products usually get regular repairs and maintenance to prevent that. The side effect on my gear is pretty minor and negligible, but in most cases, you get some poor sod whose neck got snapped by the necklace they were wearing. Oh my gosh. Alright, that was a lot of reading, but good stuff. And next time, we get to see what we have in store over here, and this is a fun one. This is one to look forward to, so I'll see you then. Peace.